Hey, okay, now we're ready. All right, because I clicked the right button this
Yeah, you
time.
did it.
Okay, Eden, this is real. I'm back in the Kitterman home, and Eden, you and I already did an awesome, I think, very cool thing on my YouTube, and you can go back and look at that. And you wrote it was a paper, and the theme was,
Spiritual light.
and this was a great interview, and I appreciated that. And and we're going to do another one today. I have a blast coming over to this house. This is a hoot, the Kitterman family. Tell me something about the Kitterman family. Tell me something about your brother, who I did a YouTube thing with too.
Yeah,
He's just a sweetheart, isn't he?
maybe in front of the camera, but at home he's a devil.
Well,
Uh,
he and I are both ADHDs, aren't we? Okay, and so that's good.
yeah,
And and we had a great talk because he did something on my YouTube no one's ever done before.
yeah, he specifically asked to do a chaplain chat with Pastor Sayers, but he made a paper specifically for it.
Never had anybody do that. He's going to work on another one. That is so cool. And okay, then your sister is
Reagan. She is the illustrator for his new book, Hoppy the ADHD Kangaroo.
coming soon to a movie next to you. And that's gonna. And I am. We're going to be doing another one with Reagan and actually your mom because your mom is my what?
Editor. She's gonna help edit the Hoppy book.
And and my
Oh, and she's gonna be the
yeah.
publisher.
That's
Yeah.
kind of do. And we're going to talk about that later. Okay, but now, okay, now that's all that
Hold
stuff's done.
on.
Whoa, Woody. Um, last time I was here, you showed me a new paper that you wrote for your writing assignment, and the paper is called.
This one is called Laid Bare.
All right, I had to look it up. What the heck? What is lay? What does that mean?
Well, for me, that means that, like, when you, like, I'm trying to think. Um, it's like laying down all that you have. So, like, think of, like, the picture in my mind is kind of weird. Think of like when you have like all of these little plants or seeds, you have to put them out and organize them so that you
Oh,
can put them into the ground.
oh,
So lay it down, so lay,
oh,
and then bare. So like it's like there's nothing else surrounding it. So like take off any masks or anything you have. So
oh.
like lay it all down.
You know,
So it's
there.
laid
Oh,
bare for God to see it all.
when we're all done with this, because I'm going to talk less on this. Uh, let say, what about Charlie Chapman? Okay, that's just remember
Yeah.
that. But I'm not going to do that here because that take too much time. Okay, now let's get into it. Read the paper for me.
Okay.
This is really rich.
So it's called Laid Bare. The Bible is the most influential book in my life. Writing this paper has challenged me to become a better person, and I hope it will change you too. It is the most influential thing in my life because everything I stand for comes from the Bible. It is full of intuition and awareness that I ascertain. It teaches me that when we hold hope during suffering, we will be honored. Fully relishing this awe-inspiring text will only happen in the full presence of God. The Bible is full of wisdom,
Hmm.
and it gives us the opportunity to learn. It gives us guidance to do what is holy and upright. It teaches me how to use many tools on my spiritual tool belt for life. I build my life with the tools, but sometimes I use a screwdriver on the nail instead of the hammer, so to speak. A few things are self-control, love, and patience, which I need to use more often. I also learn from people, using their lives as examples of things to do or not to do. It gives me a form of morality outside of myself. So when I am struggling, I have a source of strength. My life runs on that wisdom, and I am still learning which tools to use. Discernment flows from the magnificent reaches of the Bible, and we need to make use of the knowledge God gifts us. Trials and hard times are tests of faith and righteousness. In James 1 verse 12, explains that they grow into blessings, which is something to be joyful about. Though hard, trials build character and perseverance through discomfort. The human body can endure much more than people understand. It's just getting past the mental and spiritual boundaries to fully experience the wondrous nature of God. The Bible talks about many people trusting in God through hard times. One particular man is Job. He was a man who was blameless. He did everything right, prayed constantly, sacrificed every day, and was extremely rich. Satan resented him, however, and asked God if he could test Job. God agreed, and Job was put through a whirlwind of pain. So much so that his wife and friends told Job to just kill himself. Think of the betrayal. He was resilient, however. After this period of trials, Job got rewarded 3 times over. The Bible teaches me that trials grow into blessings. The Bible is a multifaceted book, meaning it is confusing and hard to understand. I couldn't find a better word.
Yeah.
God speaks through the Bible, as it tells me in John 1:1. But it is also just a book. Pages, a cover, and there are millions of copies all around the world. So, how is God specifically in every one? The big reveal is that God isn't actually in the book. It is the heart behind the understanding. God speaks through people that wrote down their stories, hopes, and visions over hundreds of years. These writings came together and created one big story of how God has given mercy, punishments, and justification since the beginning of time. Scholars have tried to crack open the conundrum of the Bible, but no one has gotten close to its wondrous and wholesome meaning. So, in an attempt for myself, what is the Bible? Is it a historical text, the living word, a poem, or just a collection of short stories? The answer is yes to all of those answers. I described parts of the Bible, but can we really explain it all? I don't know yet, but I know someday I will understand this mystifying book and will able to bask in God's glory. The Bible is full of insight and perception that I learn from. It teaches me that when we hold out during tribulations, we will be rewarded eternally. Fully understanding this awe-inspiring book will probably not happen in this world, but I know it will in the full presence of God. The most significant aspect about the Bible is that it is contrary to what the world wants us to believe. Everything I stand for comes from the Bible. My life is laid bare by this book, and I hope after reading this, yours will change too.
Wow. Forget all the other questions. I mean, really, we actually went over this. Well, let's do this and this and this. And reading this again, I almost don't want to, but I do want to explore one thing because I just think it was fantastic. I want to get your thoughts. And how old are you now?
14.
14. From a 14-year-old. And some people say, what is a 14-year-old? Well, there's things you've written in there that I'm going, wow. But I want to talk about suffering. You don't have to look at your notes or anything on this. And I just want you from your heart, what does suffering mean to you? A 14-year-old.
Suffering is sin. There isn't any other way to explain it.
Suffering is
sin.
Okay, I'm pushing a little bit here. Does suffering, when I suffered, is it always because I sinned?
No.
Then what is suffering?
Suffering isn't because of sin. Suffering was created by sin. So when Adam and Eve took the bite of the fruit, it created sin, and Satan is just using that to create suffering. So God, in his all the things that he does. He cannot actually
Maybe instead of created, the word you're searching for is
resulted. Yes. So
But-
it was a consequence. So consequence could be either good or bad. So the consequence of sin is death or suffering.
Yes, that's Genesis chapter 3 from on. Once sin came into the world, because sin wasn't in the world in Genesis 1 and 2, but in Genesis 3, what happened in Genesis 3?
Sin went over the world and
How did who messed up first? Well, we all messed up, but in the Bible, who was it?
Well, the serpent.
Oh, you are so cool on this. So, I mean, this is great. And you're doing one. Yeah, the serpent, then Adam and Eve, and all that. But
Yeah.
but you're right. Hey, I want to one more thought before we wrap this up. This is pretty good because I really liked your look at the Book of Job,
Yeah.
and I think uh, what did you learn? What have you learned from Job? The book of Job. What have you learned?
A lot of people get this misconception that God put punishment on Job, that he created Job's suffering, but that's not true. The devil literally went up to God and said, "You bless this man way too much. We need to see how he reacts in real life."
So what are you learning personally from that?
Well, not all good people will have good lives.
Amen. That's a great because yes, in fact, very good. And now I'm done putting you on the spot because one of my takeaways from Job is just what you said. Everything lived in happily ever after. Job got. I don't necessarily believe that's true. The older I get, because someday we're gonna get our final. I mean, it's gonna be amazing. But there's a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of suffering going on, which God never meant to be. But when sin came into the world, it did. I mean, we have people, loved ones that are sick and they're dying, or this and this war going on. God didn't want, and 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 yet, unless you look at the end of Job, because Job never never gets answers. He gets God's presence, and that's what I get out of it.
Yeah, because he's like, "God, why is this happening
Yes.
to me? What have I done?" And God is all like, "Were you there when the earth was formed?"
And isn't that rich? Because he is Adam. I mean, he's going. And Job, we talk about the patience of Job. Job loses his patience after chapter 3. And he goes, "But God, why? Why?" It's like he's on a witness. God, why? And God says, "Okay, Job. First of all, where were you when I did this and this?" And Job's going, "Oh, you're right,
But
God."
he never actually blamed God
No,
for it.
But he's Adam, and then Job folk, "Oh God, yeah." And then you think, okay, there's a part of me, okay, but God doesn't let him off the hook. I'm not done yet. And then there's finally this, okay, God, he really experiences the presence of God. In my life, sometimes I need to really lament. And lamenting means to me getting it all out, being real with God, being real with one. And there are times I'm angry with God.
Yeah.
God knows that. That's okay. Frustrated, confused, questioned. But when I can be real with God, I may never get answers in this world, but the answer is with me.
Yeah.
And I want to stop right there. Oh, closing thought.
And what you just said, that's what laid bare means. You lay it all down.
Oh.
See?
Okay, there you got to lay it all down, and that's fantastic. Okay, well, we're done now. This is so much fun, and there's a group behind us they've been so good at being quiet. But are you ready? How we end this? You remember how we ended? Where I said, "Welcome, thank you for being on." You get to thank you for being on. You remember what you say?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I want to thank you guys for watching it, and we will do this again.
Okay.
And I want to thank you for being on
Chaplain Chat.
Chaplain Chat. Okay. And I click it right here.